Cinema Classics is sponsored by WCBE 90.5 FM, Columbus, Ohio. Produced by John DeSando, Cinema Classics can be heard online at WCBE.org and Thursdays at 8:01 p.m.
I'm John
And
DeSando,
I'm Wayne Miller.
and this is Cinema Classics.
It is.
And boy, do we have a classic this time.
Oh, yeah, well, we're talking about the fifth in the series that was spawned by a true cinematic classic.
All we have to do is say the two words Indiana Jones,
Yep, and I'm Michigan Miller.
and all your fellow Americans know what we're talking about.
Yes,
So this is the pop culture of our time.
right.
Yeah. For the last, I don't know how many years, you said this is the fifth iteration of the Indiana Jones story.
Yeah, the fifth one.
Yeah.
Fifth and probably final one,
I
from
would
what
think.
they're saying, yeah.
It's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Doom.
Well, it could
No.
be Doom, but it's actually Destiny.
Oh,
Yep,
is that right?
the Dial
Why
of
do I have
Destiny.
Dial of Doom on this?
Well, I don't know.
Isn't that interesting?
You'll have to talk with your agent about
Yeah,
that.
wow. Okay, so we're talking, what, the Destiny of Doom?
Yeah, no, the Dial of Destiny.
Of Destiny,
Yes,
yes, that
yes.
makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. And,
All right, let's go back over that.
Well, and then that's kind of, and there's actually two parts. It's funny because one of the reviews I was reading about this, and the reviewer talks about the MacGuffin, which of course was Hitchcock's way of having something that the bad guys have and the good guys want to get it, or vice versa, the MacGuffin. But it's an object, but it doesn't really mean that much.
Sure.
In a way. This one does. And the reviewer said it was actually two MacGuffins that came that put together became a super MacGuffin, and that's the dial itself.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, and it's in two parts, but I do remember the Ark of the Covenant, or whatever it was in that
Yep.
first one.
Yep, the Ark of the Covenant, and the other ones. Oh, there was the Holy Chalice or whatever.
Okay, right,
in
and how about the
in
Crystal
the
Skull?
third one.
Was that also?
Yeah, the Crystal Skull. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the fourth.
All right, so
movie.
we got that, so that's, it's film 101,
Yes, it
the
is.
MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin, the object that propels the plot, but it really doesn't mean a heck of a lot to the enjoyment of the overall movie.
So it's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Correct.
Right, okay, so how do you, yeah, show that to our audience.
Yeah, well,
For those-
a good photo of this recent
Yeah,
People magazine.
doesn't do any good for people listening on radio.
Yeah, no, it
But we
doesn't.
have People Magazine, and we'll
Yeah.
feature that in just a little bit. But right now, I'd like your overall feeling, because everybody's waiting to go. It starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure we steer them right.
Right.
So what's your thought about this as you look at the whole of Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones?
Well, it's really a very interesting thing. In fact, I went back and watched the first one, actually, the first one yesterday. Once again, thoroughly enjoyed it. And a couple of days ago, I saw the fifth one, the Crystal Skull.
Yes. Is that better for you? Because it was pretty much dissed, I thought, when it came out.
Yeah, people I think have grown to appreciate it a little bit more, but I wanted to see it because of the whole we talk so often on your shows about family in the movie.
Good.
And the use of family, and in that one, the Crystal Skull, that he discovers that he has a son from his longtime love, going back to Raiders, Marion Ravenwood, memorably played by the beautiful Karen Allen, who appeared in had a major role in that fourth movie, The Crystal Skull.
But here in the Dial of Destiny,
Yes.
all right, what makes this any different from any others? Are people going to say, ho hum, I've seen this all before? But how would you tell somebody about this movie because our show is basically an encouragement show. It usually almost always is. We're cheerleading.
Yes.
What would you say to them about this?
I think they'll like it. We've talked so often about movies in a franchise.
Yeah.
And basically, you'll get more out of it if you've seen the other ones. We talked about that with the Marvel movies and the DC movies and a number of the Fast and Furious
and you're right.
franchise.
You are right.
And this really sums up a lot of what really Indiana Jones was about. And I think that knowing some of the backstory, particularly going back to the original Raiders, because the beginning of Dial of Destiny, that we find, whereas Raiders took place in 1936, I believe, this one, the very first scenes in Nazi Germany or whatever takes place in 1944. And India, and pretty good job of de-aging.
I think a good, for you film students out there, take a look at how well it's done.
So it kind of references a little bit about what made Raiders really great, and that was Indy battling Nazis for a coveted
And look at,
artifact.
you know, he's 80 years old.
Yes.
He's not quite as nimble as he once was, but he surely has turned out well. He's still erect. He is still ironic. He still has that crooked smile of his.
Yeah.
The ironic, sardonic toss off. He's our kind of guy, actually.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing too about the movie, he's got a really good, fairly charismatic villain to play it. Kind of a Werner von Braun character.
Yes, for sure.
That is a Nazi scientist that the government brings over, like they did with von Braun, to work for the NASA program.
But interesting, Oppenheimer coming up.
Yes, with that. But Mads Mikkelsen does a great job, I believe, of playing the villain in this one. And there's some other memorable villains.
You know, I think you're right on particularly on the account of, it would be nice if you could see some of the others so that you would understand the references in this one, but it's not essential. This is still a crackerjack adventure.
Yes.
It's not directed by Steven Spielberg.
I know, and I wonder, and the guy who did direct it does know how to do some of his action scenes. He did that one, I think, Wolverine movie called Logan, as well as Ford versus Ferrari or whatever.
He's good, and that Logan, as you mentioned, is one about a retiring guy.
Yes, so I know. Maybe he'll do a movie about us.
Well, I don't think so, because we are not going to die. Or let's just say,
we've retired, but we're not dead.
No, it's like the film.
They call our film DeSando and Miller and the Dial of Death. Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about? What we saw, the finished film.
Oh my goodness, one of my
He's not immortal, but he refuses to die.
Yes. I know, that was one of my more recent favorite films, and really good. That's right. That makes and some of the action scenes there, of course, taking on the Nazis, the bad boys of all cinema. Basically.
It's always fun to go to these adventures with you, but particularly this one, because you're on top of it and you've loved it. And one of the reasons you've loved it is that you've loved Karen Allen.
Yes.
And we have a friend who resembles her that we try to revere.
Yes.
Almost as a goddess, but you're going to show our audience that.
Well,
the visual.
The video here, you can see I've got an autographed photo, black and white photo of Karen Allen, as well as a little action figure that kind of goes along with my Indiana Jones action figure.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
But for the radio people, you'll have to go online and look at the video.
We have just begun.
Yes.
And we are getting close to time. So
Yeah,
we're
more.
going to encourage people
Yes,
to go to our podcast on WCBE, the podcast experience,
yes.
and it's
Yep.
called Double Take.
Yep,
But right now, we're looking at wrapping it up, if you can believe it, and I guess this is a great metaphor for the series itself.
Yeah.
We're not ready to let it go,
yeah.
but we have to. So, your advice?
Go see it. Even if you didn't see the previous movies, but basically, who hasn't seen those? You know, that's just it. But even if you haven't, I think you'd really enjoy it, and it'll make you probably want to go back to the very beginning, in 1981, with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And both of us, having had extensive experience with pop culture and appreciating it and teaching it,
Yes.
would like to say to our very literate audience, 75% of our audience is college educated,
Yeah.
we'd like to say to them, get some feel for the trajectory of American cinema. And this, as much as anything, is a good example of what we do well and how miraculously you can extend people's interest in something like this for over 30 or 40 years, whatever.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
remarkable.
And 42 years
Yes,
since the
go see it. Don't expect it to be as good as the first one.
Yeah, definitely compare with the first one.
Yeah, we're not steering you wrong.
Yeah.
And even if you don't care for Karen Allen, you know anyway.
Yeah.